Yes, this call is going to be recorded. I'll be calling the law firm of Anderson, Julian Hall, LLC, out of Boise, Idaho. The number is 1-208-344-5800. I'll be asking them in regards to them and what I'm expecting to be able to speak about when I'm before the Supreme Court.
Good afternoon, Anderson, Julian Hall.
Yes, ma'am. Is Miss Rachel O'Barr available?
I can put you through to her voicemail.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
You've reached Rachel O'Barr, Anderson, Julian Hall. Please leave a message after the tone.
Yes, Miss Rachel O'Barr. My name is James Clark. I'm representing myself, 40016-2012. Hey, Miss O'Barr, when I appear at the Industrial Commission, at the Supreme Court, I will be expecting the Industrial Commission to be there to show their findings of facts and conclusions of law. 1, the findings of fact that I had fired an attorney, Roger Brown. Fact 2 that they put, that I was life-flighted due to a pre-existing injury. That is what I am expecting to be able to talk about, Miss Rachel O'Barr of the law firm of Anderson, Julian Hall, who was hired to represent the Idaho State Insurance Fund when I filed a complaint against the Idaho State Insurance Fund. So, and the alterations of documents from your firm, I'm wondering why you're being able to represent the Industrial Commission, or why you're even going to appear at oral argument. Ms. Rachel O'Barr from the law firm of Anderson, Julian Hall, LLC, would you please contact me or set up a phone conference with whoever has to be involved during one of our phone conversations. But I believe that I'm entitled, Ms. Rachel O'Barr, to know what you're doing. I would like to know why you are going to be there instead of the Industrial Commission, because my appeal is based upon the Industrial Commission's findings of facts and conclusions of law. So when I come in, and if that's not what is before the Supreme Court, you better get me a straitjacket. So that's where I'm at, guys. Almost forgot I was videoing. Hey, I'm before the Idaho Supreme Court on the findings of facts and conclusions of law. For a couple examples, Mr. Referee Donnie, the Honorable referee who was assigned to my case, Douglas Donahue of the Industrial Commission, put in his findings of facts and conclusions of law. Now, findings of facts. Isn't a findings of fact something where you have found, because it is a conclusion of law? Am I right or wrong? So, where's your findings of facts, the Honorable Referee Donahue of the Industrial Commission? In your findings of facts and conclusions of law, you put that I fired an attorney, Roger Brown. I'm demanding you, Mr. Donahue, referee of my case, of my complaint, that I have filed with you for 2 years prior to hiring Lynn Luker / legislator, who sits as vice chair of the judicial. So what does that judicial mean? The Industrial Commission? What rules that you all have to abide by or follow? I mean, really, what is this all about? Because in your filings, you're saying in some parts where it's not properly before the Supreme Court, or this ain't, or blah, 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 blah. So what are you trying to say? You're corrupt? Because I'm going to tell you, as I said, when I walk in there on June 5th of 2013 to the Idaho Supreme Court, and if the Industrial Commission is not there to produce what they put in their findings of facts and conclusions of law, they better have a straitjacket for me. Because what you guys have put me through in the living hell, and then all this mysterious alterations of documents, and how I was receiving documents that already had agencies' numbers on them. Now, how could that be? If we were just filing through that process, don't you put agencies' numbers on after the fact, not before the fact? That are the agency's records, part of the Industrial Commission's records. So, you know, and then the filing that I got from the Supreme Court, was it from the Supreme Court? Because it had no reference number on it. I had that document. And again, it already had a fucking reference number on it. So does that mean that the true thing that was really there where it says no reference number? What is there? Because the lies. Mr. Donahue, show me where I fired this attorney. Come on. And I'll walk away. Number two, I'll give you 2 chances. Mr. Donahue, referee. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to address you properly, no matter how angry I am, or angry. Sir, Mr. Honorable Douglas Donahue, who was assigned to my hearing of November 17 of 2010, that I fired an attorney. Show me where I was life flighted due to a pre-existing injury. Mr. Donahue, referee that I was aware of until I had moved way over here, and in one of your filings, you put the word honorable just prior to that man's name. Is this man a judge? Or was he a judge? This man that put these lies that are posted on your webpage? You better have a straitjacket. Okay? So, Miss Rachel O'Barr from the law firm of Anderson, Julian Hall, tell me, isn't it a fact that you owe my mom $300? An 87-year-old mom? You're going to take advantage? And I keep telling her, I'm going to get it for you. Because how dare you disrespect her? Dorothy Bowman and Linda Elwood is due that money. Again, if the Industrial Commission is not there to produce their findings, because isn't it really true, my credibility, because of how you put that in your statement when I filed my appeal, that you, in the findings of facts and conclusions of law, you felt no reason to disturb the referees, my character, and there's the other word before that, but character. So, my character. Do you know who I am? Have you really even looked into who I am? I thought I was a U.S. citizen who was born in the United States who has constitutional rights. And isn't it true, Miss Rachel O'Barr, that I have 152 pages of phone conversations in a couple of different ways? Because during all this filing, you've been sending me copies of the same documents that I have. Yep. Hi. Okay, it's going to be a couple of minutes, Christine, because I'm doing a video for the Supreme Court right now, and you happen to call in it, and your mom's outside. Okay? But that's okay. I just didn't want to shut the video off, but I want you to be known that you're being recorded on a video, okay? Okay. So I'm going to let you go so I can finish this. Thank you. Bye. So, I want to know, what are you doing? Are you trying to destroy me? And then Mr. Donahue, And then you try to put me out as this drug user, this methamphetamine user, addict, addict. And you don't even know what that's done to me over here. After finding my kids, finally trying to move forward, even after it took you a year, because I found a piece of document the other day where, you know, your all's decision should only take like 3 months. Why did it take you all 1 year, and then it took you all, until I moved over here to move forward, to be with my kids and my grandkids that, you know, my kids I found after 15 years, and then, you know, one of my grandkids that was there, and now I have another grandson, and, you know, I was enjoying it, you know, even though I'm fighting you all based upon your lies and your findings of facts and conclusions of law. And now I can't even see him anymore because supposedly I'm a meth addict. Meth addict. See, so has your posting already hurt me? You fucking head has. Am I fucking mad? I think y'all should be lucky I'm over here. But I don't think you would have pulled this if I was living there, because y'all just didn't think I was going to be over there. You didn't think I'd make it this far. You thought when Lynn Luker was hired, after he took an answer off the web page, which is everything I'm saying verifiable, and he could prove me wrong in one area, I'll walk away. Miss Rachel O'Barr. Now, what if I can produce how Miss Jill Owens committed fraud on April 1st, 2008, April 7th, 2008, April 11th, 2008, and then between August 15th of 2008 until October 10th, when I went to see old Mr. Dr. Holt on your all's behalf, they had been lying to the Industrial Commission about some private health records that they had received without my knowledge, but I didn't know about it right off. But then the Industrial Commission, this is where Lynn Luker kind of comes in. So, you know, I'm just trying to get to the point of it. Hello? Who? I'm sorry, you have the wrong number, guy. That's quite all right. So, you know, it's like, what was that shit, man? It's overwhelming, man. You guys, I just don't know what to say about it. I tried to move forward over here, and then after I moved over here, 3 days later, I received a letter from you all on your decision of whatever this hearing was. Here we are too. Whatever this hearing was of November 17th of 2010. Because isn't it true that I filed a complaint on June 2nd of 2008? How was the Idaho State Insurance Fund able to put me back to work without seeing this doctor? The severity of my arm, the massive swelling, the oozing that's coming out of my fucking arm, that's being wrapped every single day. If not by me, by a physician, 3 days a week. And then I had to do it on the other days. So, and then I was seeing Lifeways, which I'm the one that found him. I'm the one that called him up based on family stating, you know, Jim, you need to go see somebody, man, based upon those nightmares. But they're wanting in the paperwork to believe that somebody recommended me there. No, it's a lie. Again, more lies of theirs. And then they lied to my mom, wrote a letter, and emailed it to me because I argued it. And they accepted it. It's a contract. 1, I could prove that the contract was done. Number 2, I could prove that the services were completed, not once, but twice. Isn't that right, Miss Jill Owens? Isn't that right, Miss Rachel O'Barr? from the law firm of Anderson, Julian Hall, who helped put that contract together. And the job was completed. But payment was not, because they never intended on paying my family, my mother, who right now, you know, what it is the state insurance fund can't prove that they paid my mother, Dorothy Bowman, of Payette, Idaho, and Linda Elwood of Payette, Idaho, the money that they said they would pay them in the contract. But then, you know, because that's when the law firm of Anderson, Julian Hall was hired, is when I filed my complaint. It was accepted, and they responded to my complaint. Because you see, in my complaint, this is what my complaint was. Now, come on now. How, and it's true, I have the paperwork. That's where I'm blessed, is there is paper trail. And that's where they're just hoping that nobody will fucking listen to me. But I'm going to be there. Oh, fuck, man. You guys. Oh, man. I don't know what to do, man. Other than continue to stand up and fight, man. Fight who I was as a person. I may not get back everything I was. But come on, man. I'm allowed some of it. Because really, truly, isn't it true? I really haven't had a life. Look into it. Come on over here. I would like anyone to come over here and ask my neighbors, how much have they really have seen me until this last few weeks? Because when I was over there in Idaho, about a month ago, when I got back, I really haven't touched my paperwork for the first time. You know, because I'm trying to comprehend what's going on, because after I had sat there at the governor's office with this gentleman by the name of Zachary, or Zach, who works there at the Capitol, somewhere for the governor's office, because me and Elaine Kerr went there to talk to the governor. But I wasn't aware, again, because I don't follow government, but I have read a lot about government, and I wasn't into the part where when it is and when it stops. But I guess it was over that day, and there was a news camera in an adjoining room with a door, and I guess I was a little loud, and somebody kept coming in and talking to the police officer, and then the police officer would come over and tell me that I'd had to keep it quiet. But truly, if I knew it at that time, I would have been in that other room, man. Stake my life on that. But you see, Mr. Lynn Luker / legislator for the state of Idaho, I got it down now. Because everything before that Capitol is open to the public. So is my oral argument before the Idaho Supreme Court on June 5th of 2013. I'm wanting everyone who's ever been injured in Idaho, and who, you know, who always kind of thought that something wasn't right. Because in one of my filings before the Supreme Court, that I wrote to the Industrial Commission, which the way that they're wording it, so they can get around that particular letter, they're stating it as my letters filed. Because I filed a bunch of letters at one time. Isn't that true, Miss Rachel O'Barr of the law firm of Anderson, Julian Hall, LLC of Boise, Idaho? Because isn't it true that oh no, you know, an oral argument, man. I just, am I kind of rambling? Well, you know, I'm just so, it's overwhelming, man, for me to, in one of my filings, here it is, in one of my filings, I had written a letter that had the statement in it. Because in the manner that they tried to put me back to work, seeing this doctor 5 days a week and psychiatric help just weeks after my injury because I was making the state insurance fund transfer my doctor a little closer. Now, isn't it common sense? Let's use that common sense law or whatever it is. Let's use the common sense. I just get injured. I fought 10 minutes for my life. Took them 40 minutes to get me out of the machine. They had to life flight me because they thought they had to amputate my arm. And then I'm on all this medication, pain medication. Come on, man. My arm went through a space probably about like this. Well, about a 1/4 inch. My arm. 1/4 inch. While rollers were rolling inward that had steel bands on them. Could you imagine what would have happened if those bands would have caught into my arm, which I thought of every fucking second, and then just having my kids come into my life? Just March 27th or something like that, to be kind of give or take, of 08. Isn't that true? Because isn't it really true? That's what gave me the strength to live. I found him, and I'm a grandfather. Fuck. I'm on fucking cloud 12. And then I find my other son, Zachary. You know? And then for me to have been fighting you all and truly not being able to really socialize with them, but maybe a few after I got here, until your findings of facts came out. Now, isn't this stuff posted? Isn't it true that it's posted that you all stated in an editorial which is posted that I had fired Roger Brown from the law firm, Gurgitcha Law Office, or however you pronounce it, I apologize, of Boise, Idaho, Gurgitcha Law Office, or something like that, but I'm sure y'all would know who I'm trying to say, of that firm. Now, isn't it true, Mr. Donahue, that I can prove that your statement is a lie? And Mr. Donahue, referee assigned to my claim, or case, or whatever the hell that was, of November 17th of 2010, where my 3-time quitter of an attorney walked out on me. Elaine Kerr, legislator, that I hired after 2 years of living hell they had put me through because I had caught him in a lot of stuff. And Elaine Kerr knew it, every bit of it, because I had asked him a question online, and he responded. I went and seen him, not knowing at the time that he responded that he was a legislator. But when I met him, I find out he's a legislator. I went, oh, Jesus Christ, man, it's about damn time, man, because legislator. But I didn't know where he said at yet. So, I don't know where he said at till after he quit. That's the party of it, because, see, they never thought I'd make it this far. Because when he quit on December 20th, and was granted within 3 days on June 23rd. And then, as I'm reading over time, he wasn't supposed to come back when I hired him back. He was supposed to have, he couldn't, he wasn't supposed to speak to me, but he came back. I wrote him a letter. I had that proof. The fax letterhead of it. Hey, babe, the fax letterhead of it. And everything else, huh? So you know, it's kind of like, I got you, man. And then the law firm of Anderson, Julian Hall, LLC, also came back to try to negotiate again with me. But the whole thing was, I hired my attorney back to try to take to try to bring it to an end and possibly negotiate the $120,000 settlement that they offered me before he quit, because I wouldn't accept it. Because I wanted the psychological help, man. I wanted the other help. You know, the retraining, because I can no longer do the work that I'm accustomed to make a living based upon my physician, Dr. Hansen. And then you all have the balls to disrespect that man at his deposition? When you said, do you know one of your all's doctors, one of your crooks, and how he's been a long time member of Idaho or whatever, and my doctor didn't know him? So what? That just tells me that that's because my doctor's on the good side and not on your all's crooked side. Because for Mr. Crumb, who you all hired, who said I was like 45 or 50% disabled as a whole, you know, hey, yeah, I read that. But you discredited some of his and lowered his, even though my doctor, okay, 27% of a whole at the first time. But then when they tried to, you know, they're trying to cover up that he had done it again by wordings, the way how things are worded. But, you know, he did it prior to when they had me signing some kind of a contract, because it was already in the process of being done, because based upon their filings that I also have, that they said that they had no, now all this stuff here before Elaine Kerr, that they had no objection to paying Dr. Hansen's impairment rating under the 5th or 6th edition. Because during one of my conferences with an attorney, because I couldn't get an attorney to take my case, imagine that, he kind of told me about this 6th edition book. Did he do your impairment rating based on the 6th edition? I go, I don't know. Because I didn't know about that stuff. I just know that I had an impairment rating done. And so I looked into it, and because the 6th edition came out just months before Dr. Hansen did my impairment rating on the 6th edition. I mean, on the 5th edition. Isn't that true? The law firm of Anderson, Julian Hall, Miss Rachel O'Barr? The things I've learned over the last 5 years that I didn't even know that I had the knowledge, man. But, you know, I'm pretty proud of myself for being this far, even though it's cost me dearly in all avenues of my life. All avenues. You know, if you all tried to do this to me and almost got away with it, well, and you all put me back to work in the manner you did and almost got away with it, and in my writing I said this, and how many innocent people have you done that to and actually got away with it? Imagine that. That's why I would like anybody injured in Idaho that has doubts about how the outcome of their claim was, when they had the Honorable Douglas Donahue as your referee in the Industrial Commission area. So that is what's before the Supreme Court. And as I said, if I walk into that office, Miss Rachel O'Barr, from the law firm of Anderson, Julian Hall, and Mr. Hall, who said that he's entitled to know everything about my life, but is everybody else, Mr. Hall. And then they worded, if I have a problem about the way that that the Idaho State Insurance Fund received my private health records, then I should contact Safe Corporation from Salem, Oregon, which I had been over there since I've been here. Yeah, because of a document. Oh yeah. Huh, Miss Rachel O'Barr? Huh, Miss Jewel Owens? See, everybody doesn't know the whole story. This stuff just didn't happen overnight. Can you imagine in between all this what I'm trying to tell you? Am I kind of skipping here and there and then going back? Wow, that's because in order to get to this part over here, you got to know about that part. And even though you knew about some of that part, and then you hear about this part, well, you got to go back and start over with that part to get the other part to get to this part. Now, I have had to sacrifice a lot. I just started to know my neighbors around here in this last month. Because I went outside because it's kind of been nice. I tried to, do some work around the house here, man. I took my anger out on like 3 trees she used to have in her yard. I hooked it up to my truck and they ain't there no more. But hey, you know what? I've done some work out there in the yard, because Jr. he did keep a pretty good yard, but when he passed, she just didn't have nothing in it anymore. When I got here, she was pretty much bedridden, man. She wouldn't even get out of bed. She'd been there for almost a year, her daughters told me. But you know what? We've known each other for over 20 years. Elaine Kerr is probably what's saved my life right now, man. Has kept me from being in prison or jail because of my anger when I go over there to try to show things to the Supreme Court. Even Steve Kenyon takes records from me because he had concerns. But then he sent them to the same people that I had filed in my motion for stop of all proceedings till some things are looked into. But those weren't part of the records. Those were just with me after I had went to Idaho. Well, from when I went to Idaho, after I had already filed, my motion for stay of all proceedings, and was denied. But why? Because I have two different stories, one from the clerk of the court, and then one from Miss Rachel O'Barr from the law firm of Anderson and Julian Hall, recorded, which they, I'm sure they knew, because, listen to it. Just like my 152 pages of telephone conversations. Isn't that right, Miss Rachel O'Barr? Isn't it true that I have two different versions, or maybe even three different versions of the records, of those records? Guarantee, staking my life when I come before you all, that I have at least two. I do have two. Isn't that right, Miss Rachel O'Barr? Because they're worded different. Because in the second version, which is in the first version, the version is that you had communication with the drugstore of Walgreens because they weren't going to prescribe my medication and wait for payment. I had to pay for those out of my pocket. Now, isn't it true? Because I have, like I said, two different versions. And the pages are all written different. I mean, that's where I was kind of confused because I go, no, wait a minute, man. This don't look like the same thing I read. And at first I wasn't catching on. But hey, isn't that how you guys tried to, And then I realized, wait a minute, man, because I seen something else. I went, whoa. And then I went back and there it was. And now I have put it all together and put, and now I can show that there's more than just one page. But it took time away from areas that I should have been really concentrating on to try to, But, man, I'm overwhelmed by how there's so much corruption there over there in Idaho. And then you, the law firm of Anderson, Julian Hall, have represented the state with litigations before. But you see, why are you even going to be there, the law firm of Anderson, Julian Hall, Miss Rachel O'Barr, and Mr. Hall, who I believe is going to do oral argument from what I was told by the clerk of the courts. So I'm wanting to know what's going on. Why are you going to be there when I want the Industrial Commission to be there to show their findings of facts? I fired an attorney, and that I was life-flighted due to a pre-existing injury, and a bunch of other lies. But if you can show me that you didn't lie with just those first two major ones, the other ones are more of abuse of the words or whatever that is, how they abuse of true information, because how they took parts of a document from that doctor and then added some other in other areas, and then it sounded different just by the way that the Industrial Commission put together their findings of facts and conclusions of law. So I'm again, If I walk in there to the Idaho Supreme Court on June 5th, 2013, and because based on my beliefs that I have filed before the Idaho Supreme Court, my appeal on the Idaho Industrial Commission's findings of facts and conclusions of law, and ineffective assistance of counsel by Mr. Elaine M. Kerr, Idaho State Legislator, who sits on the 5th District or something like that of the Judicial Vice Chair, that knew all the rules. Because when I told them what I had caught them at the fraud by receiving health information without my authorization, lying to the Industrial Commission for 2.5 months stating that they can't even get those records, and then I go to one of their doctors, and they'd already had those records, didn't protect any information in those records, and sent them to other people to read with no concern of nothing but themselves. Well, if it's all about yourself, well, again, you better have a straitjacket, because when I walk in there, and I'm not going to argue the findings of facts that they can't produce, I'm going to be a very upset person, because I want them to, because they have it posted. And if it's posted, it better be a findings of fact. And then that's why laws need to be changed. That's why there's lawless in America, because of the corruption like that. My statement that I've written is corruption, a failure in our American pride. That's on a lot of statements of mine. That's my own little saying. Not taken from anybody's, web page, no nothing. Because I can produce where that statements, because computers don't lie. Isn't that right, Miss Rachel Barr? And Mr. Elaine Kerr, / legislator, from when I first contacted you. I know how to get that information. I mean, you can go ahead and go and repossess the poor 86-year-old mother of mine that you also screwed over, who is a pioneer of the state of Idaho, who has the plaque on her wall to prove it. 15 years that woman told me that I'd never give up. You'll find your kids, and I did. You're not going to take advantage of her if I can help it. But again, oral argument is open to the public. And I'm hoping some way between now and June 5th, 2013, I can have it as standing room only to show the corruption. Because I want them to produce it. If they can't produce it, because it's destroying my life over here, then what am I going to do? What am I going to do, man? I tried to move forward in my life, man. I haven't been able to yet. I got to now try to figure out how to mend this thing with my daughter. It's pretty, because somebody used it against me, which my daughter didn't. It doesn't even know the person personally, but still, it's just, I guess, from what my ex-wife, ex-wives or ex-husbands, it don't matter. We're all guilty of some little bitty lie about the other spouse. But some of her lies have been pretty fucking rude. So anyway, there I kind of am, over here trying to move forward every day of my life. But every day I get up and put my feet on the ground. It's a new day, a new living hell. Because again, we argue, but I'm blessed that I've known her for over 20 years. I'm telling you, man. If she was just somebody, I'd be out the door. But she's not just somebody. To me, I wouldn't even allow you to have that kind of satisfaction of knowing how I feel about her. my little secret word. So you guys are assholes. And I, James Walter Clark, who was born November 10th, 1958, Eureka, California, Humboldt County, is going to be there in Boise, Idaho, June 5th, 2013. And there's only two ways I'm going to walk out of there. And, one of them, well, there's only one way. Yeah, let me put it that way. No, there's only going to be one way that I will walk out of there on my own. And that is at the Industrial Commission as a whole. And the name of the person that's on the front page of their brief is not before the Industrial Commission. Before the Idaho Supreme Court. To show that these statements that are published in their decisions on their webpage are not lies. Then you all better have a straitjacket. Because I will not walk out on my own. So Miss Rachel O'Barr from the law firm of Anderson, Julian Hall. Because if anything happens to me, these documents, some of these documents aren't just here. Let me put it that way. Because I do kind of have some concerns, man, about my safety, man. Because I'm up against, I'm arguing about a fucking Idaho state legislator, Elaine Kerr, who, I don't know who the fuck he is, and I don't care. Not the way he treated me. An injured worker, which he also took my Social Security, and he even did a couple of filings on it, and then quits on it, but tells me, you don't know me nothing on that. And for a couple months later, he fucking just quits, and then, for what? Based on what? Come on, Mr. Luker. What were the lies you used? Because obviously the Industrial Commission, in one of their filings, wouldn't allow, said that you didn't have to send me one, or fucking, some stupid thing. The hell, ain't I entitled to everything? Isn't there a way that I'm supposed to be able to view what's everything before the Supreme Court, which I'm being denied, unless I come over there and review it in person? But now, what if I was to hire an attorney over here? Now, how am I going to get all the evidence? Well, now Steve Kenyon of the Clerks, he did send me a CD of, supposedly, but I have some blank pages in there, and I called and asked him about them. I don't know, man. I was told one thing, but, another thing's another thing. So, I'm just trying to figure it out. But I'm going to tell you something. Ms. Rachel O'Barr and Mr. Hall, the two of you that lied, stating that y'all don't, but in their findings of facts, they didn't even really mention it. They just used it as transportation issue. But isn't it truly based upon a contract that was done? Not just, I'm wanting extra money for this or that, or, it's over, they shorted me several times in regards to my transportation issues. Where, I was supposed to have gotten this much, but I only got like $10. I was supposed to have gotten, 40 or 50 bucks or something like that, but it was like way fucking short, and then but then over time, of course I didn't pay it, and then, what can I do? That's where they're trying to put transportation, because that was a transportation issue. But you see, isn't that issue also in regards to the letter that Dr. Hansen says that, because it has to do with transportation, but it had to do about my surgery, the day of my surgery, what has to be put in place, that I signed with the hospital. With the hospital. Do you see that contract with Dr. Hansen? It's a contract with the hospital. You should have contacted the hospital. Come on now. But not everybody knows the whole story. Only parts on how you word it. even in the depositions. Now, even y'all are saying that Dr. Hansen returned me back to work, but isn't it true in his depositions he may have returned me back to work? But what did Dr. Hansen use in the original deposition? Like, it would be very useful for Mr. Clark if he could get a job, but the job needs to entail like a feather duster. A feather duster to start out with. Isn't that true? Everybody doesn't know the whole story. People aren't even going to hear this if they don't watch the whole damn thing. Because you see, it's so complicated and so confusing. But people don't listen because I have to try to tell so much fucking at one time. I'll be there to represent myself in oral argument. And there's only one way I'll walk out of there. And that's if the Industrial Commission can show me two things. Because that's what I'm coming for. And then for Lynn Luker to explain why he quit on an injured worker. Because I was asking him to please fucking have a deposition of somebody on my behalf. Did Dr. Hansen do a deposition? Yeah, he did. After the hearing, which he should have been fucking at the hearing. But was it really my hearing? Or was it my complaint that I filed? Because I have also so many different versions of the hearing. Now, how do I get all that before the Supreme Court? Because I'm being told by the clerk of the court that I can't send digital things. But now, I don't understand. But, it's complicated. That part, who fucking cares? I don't care about that part. Because I'll bring it. I'm going to bring to the Idaho Supreme Court, even though I'm behind on my storage unit, in Idaho, the guy's been very good to me, man. C&T Storage out of Payette, Idaho, have been very good to me. They've been there from day one of this injury. And knowing that everything I have in that storage unit, and when I got that storage unit, was when I had my injury and I had to move. Because I couldn't afford my rent no more, because I'm having to pay my own transportation back and forth to Boise. Right after an injury, too. Because 30 days later, I finally got the state insurance fund to get my referral sent over to Dr. Hansen. Because they weren't helping me pay to go 180-something miles on a round trip. And common sense. Well, Dr. Hansen comes right there to Fruitland, Idaho, when I lived in Payette, Idaho. I walked that. So, come on, man. Common sense. But they're trying to make it look like that I requested to be sent, my referral to be sent over, based upon because I didn't like what they had said in regards to getting some help at my home, which the Idaho State Insurance Fund said if my doctor says okay, it would be fine. So I went there and asked them about it. And they said, no, you're okay. But you see, what had happened for me to do that, because people had concerns, is the medication that I was on had knocked me out while I was trying to cook in my house. I live right next, my wall and my landlord's wall was connected, we're right next to each other, and he came pounding at my screen door, man, on my patio window and patio door, and I'd fallen asleep, man. So I was going to try to see if it wouldn't pay for somebody to come into my home like 2 or 3 times a week and make me enough meals, because I couldn't use my right arm. my dominant arm. I couldn't touch nothing with it. Nothing. It hurt. Come on, man. Dorothy told me that the reason why I didn't break any bones, probably. I mean, she's the best doctor. I mean, she's got a daughter that's a doctor too. But, you know, probably because of all that milk I drink, I'm a milkaholic. Not a meth addict, a milkaholic. Drink a lot of milk. Ask anybody. Ask Elaine. But anyway, okay, there we are. I'll see you all June 5th, 2013 in the Idaho Supreme Court in Boise, Idaho. Let's stand beside each other as a wall, like the big wall of China. Let's have a big wall of injured workers down Capitol Boulevard that has been denied their claim, when clearly there is enough evidence. But because the Industrial Commission has been given full authority, and supposedly they're not supposed to be appealable. That's what I was being told at first. But appealable? Well, shit, that's giving them open range for lies. Because not everybody can really put together this kind of a lie, how they've used lies in the findings of fact. Because of their lies that they used prior to my past. Which, again, I didn't even know I had it in me. But, and then to be able to show that by records that they're lying. But I can't get nobody to step forward, not even a news agency. No one. I don't understand it. All my videos that I have posted, not one person has commented on one, except for Elaine. Because I had to check to see if it worked. Is everybody that fucking scared of Idaho? Again, not all my documents are here, and that's why. Because I want my kids to be compensated for their loss of their father. So, see y'all there June 5th, 2013. And again, I'm going there to argue the findings of facts and conclusions of law that the commission as a whole felt no reason to disturb Mr. Donahue's witness and credibility of me. My credibility. But they're not even going to be able to show that I even fucking lied about one thing. You fight for your 10 minutes in a machine that's trying to suck you into it, where your head's only about, well, from here to here, from the same rollers with the bands that's trying to cut all the way through your clothing, because it was a little chilly that morning, so I had a little extra on, and then starting to chew through my skin with it connected to a bone. They wouldn't even be wasting their time with me. I'd done been a fart in the wind on them. It means I'd done disappeared out of their thought. So, is there lawless in America? Well, I know there's lawless and corruption going on in Idaho. And I'm about to, I'm putting everything that I have on the line. Everything. Mr. Donahue, Miss Rachel O'Barr, and then you three-time quitter and an attorney, because you wouldn't hire one single person for me. You wouldn't do one deposition for me. Did I have a problem with you? Hell yes. Considering what I had filed, all my filings for 2 years. And then for you just to keep blowing me off, but then I read the records that I got, that you had put in your records, that I've never received some of these documents. But then again, I wasn't supposed to make it this far to see those, right? But I got them. You know, I didn't even know that you had done anything on my Social Security because you said you didn't. But that was a lie, wasn't it? Because you knew. Read that letter and the way that you worded it to me, like, what? You want me to fucking lie, or what the fuck do you want me to do there? Because I wasn't supposed to read it. Really, truly. I'll see y'all there. I want to see my kids. I want to start trying to communicate to be with my grandkids. I want to be able to go see my son Zachary in Georgia. That, again, I still haven't been able to see him yet, other than talk to him on the phone, because of you all. I'm tired. I will walk out of there knowing that I was being able to speak, or I will be walked out of there with a straitjacket. Because Miss Rachel O'Barr, the law firm of Anderson, Julian Hall, and your lies, and your statements, and then your alterations of some documents with your law firm logo on it, medical reports, medical documents, releases, that clearly even Steve Kenyon of the clerk was concerned on, but he sent him to the Industrial Commission to review. That's where I'm still trying to figure out. I thought I was before the Supreme Court. Well, the courts. That's what Steve Kenyon is. But I wasn't aware that the Idaho State Industrial Commission and the Idaho State Insurance Fund and the Idaho State legislation was all connected until over time. Have a good day. I love you all, kids. Kendall, Nathan, Zachary, Connor, my grandkid, Riley, my other grandson, and Dorothy. I'm trying, because you deserve to be paid triple damages. Till then, I'm out.